In the Pits is partnered with QBR. Founded in 2021 and based here in Texas, QBR seeks to elevate the cannabinoid industry to a new standard of professionalism and education, while also providing the highest quality product. Whether you are seeking to heal and recover from the toll that paintball puts on the mind and body, or even looking for investment opportunities through adult vending machines, QBR has the solution for you. Head to QBRofficial.com to browse their selection. QBR, they don't sell broccoli. In the Pits is partnered with 71 Designs, owned and operated by veteran Wade Martin, and partnered with fellow Texas brand Compete. 71 Designs can take your ideas for soft goods, merchandise, and casual wear and make them a reality. Message 71 Designs on Facebook or Instagram to get started today. In the Pits is partnered with Mariachi Águilas de Oro. Based in Austin and servicing the surrounding areas, these golden eagles will bring life to any event you are having, from birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, corporate events, or even a simple performance to enjoy. Guillermo Padilla, one of their trumpet players, is also a member of the Texas paintball scene. Visit them on Facebook and Instagram to check out some of their past performances, or give them a call to book them for your event today. In the Pits is partnered with Hydra. Designed by players for players, you can outfit yourself in Hydra gear from head to toe. Have confidence that when you make a purchase from Hydra, you are purchasing a well-tested and well-thought-out product, trusted by several top teams, including first-place semi-pro team PaintballFit.com. I personally recommend their Hydra Black knee pads. Purchases over $100 receive free shipping. Head to hydra.fit to browse their selection and discover the Hydra mentality. In the Pits is partnered with XTPL Events. The Extreme Tournament Paintball League is a series put on by the Lukow family of Paintball Fit fame that gives the opportunity for players to learn and grow together as a team. 3-man, Challengers and Champions X-Ball, Draft Mech X-Ball, and even Youth 3v3. There's something for everyone at XTPL. Not to mention prize tosses, raffles, and the infamous paintball munching contest. Events happen throughout the year, and the prizes never disappoint. Sign up for an XTPL event today on PB Leagues. In the Pits is partnered with TexanHemp.com, locally shipped cannabis seeds. In a world where saving time means making money, TexanHemp.com, a local cannabis seed bank owned and operated by local Texas pro player Jared Sherman, is making waves by becoming the go-to source for all cannabis genetics in Texas. Carrying a large assortment of cannabis cultivars, including Texas-approved varieties for use in the Texas Hemp Program, high THCA seeds for novelty use, as well as premium genetics bred for solventless extraction, TexanHemp.com has the ability to satisfy even the most sophisticated collectors. Head to TexanHemp.com and use code INTHEPITS for 10% off of your orders. In the Pits is partnered with Podrunners Union. Podrunners Union breaking news. Super limited Union Tech tees and, for the first time, Fiesta medals are available online at podrunnersunion.org. Use offer code PITS for 10% off of your order. Stealing pods for undeserving teams. It's a living. In the Pits is partnered with Compete. Compete is a Texas-based brand by Jell Stewart of professional team AC Diesel that provides custom jerseys, pants, headbands, straps, tech shirts, and any other soft goods to help individuals and teams compete at the highest level. Support Texas Paintball and message Compete on Facebook or Instagram and mention In the Pits Podcast for 10% off your entire order. In the Pits is partnered with BEM Wraps. Behind every mask is a unique and creative player. Tap into it when you order your next custom headpiece. Their Build-A-Band lets you communicate with them one-on-one to make your order just the way you want, all the way down to the color of the stitch. Check out their Instagram at BEMWraps for drops and build videos of them working on orders. They offer very competitive pricing, so reach out today to get started on your own one-of-a-kind headpiece. In the Pits is partnered with Get Dat Shot. Get Dat Shot is now accepting bookings for the upcoming NXL Mid-Atlantic Major and will also be offering drone footage for the first time. Head to GetDat_shot on Facebook or Instagram to secure your media coverage today. In the Pits is partnered with Paintball Kumite. Paintball Kumite is a program designed by Colt Roberts of professional team San Antonio X Factor to take paintball players of all ages, experience levels, and skill groups and mold them into champions. The program breaks the game down into small, easy-to-learn sessions designed to help you master the fundamentals so that you can elevate your game. Newcomers to the program get a free 1-hour introductory class when mentioning In the Pits. To sign up for a class, message at Paintball Kumite on Instagram. There we go. Testing. Okay, there we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 106 of In the Pits Paintball Podcast. This podcast is focused on everything that has to do with the paintball scene here in Texas, from professional players and teams to new divisional programs, local tournament series, field owners, Texas-based brands, even photographers and videographers. Every week, we'll have a short and sweet episode with a new topic and new special guest. I'm Christian Dallas Smith. I'm a player for the Texas Titans, and this episode we're going in the pits with Benny Salas, owner of Phoenix Rising. Benny, how are you doing this evening?
Good, sir. Hot. Just got home. Trying to figure all this stuff out with this Discord stuff. I mean, like I said, it's getting you. I mean, trying to figure all this stuff out, but got it. We're good. Got it working. Mic's working. Video's working. So we're good to go.
Yeah, for sure. You look good on my end, so.
All right. Yeah, not owner. So it's president. The owner is
okay.
The owner is what's pretty much like we have a board pretty much going on. So I'm president. I've been president for the last 2 years. Before that, I was just helping out with Dan Highland, which was the main guy when Joseph started playing with Rising. And then his son graduated, went to college, NAU, played like half a season. And then that was pretty much it. So Dan pretty much just gave me the reins, and here we are now, a couple years down the road with Rising.
Gotcha. All right. So Rising has kind of had this structure for much, much longer than you've been a part of.
Yeah. So it started with Thomas Romay. He's 2014, I believe that's when Rising got established. Got passed down to the Beatties, which is Austin Beatty from, I believe he played 1 year with AC Diesel. Mm-hmm. He still plays. He lives in Tucson. He still plays every once in a while. He was down in Vegas. He still keeps in touch. Really good family. Helped out a lot. And then from the Beatties, it went to Dan, and then from Dan to me. So pretty much just getting voted in and sticking with the program and learning from those guys. So this foundation's been pretty solid for quite a while now before I started taking over. So it was pretty easy. It wasn't really rough from the beginning. Like I hear some stories from when it first started. But yeah, so far so good. I mean, we're down lines, but I mean, that stuff that's out of our hands as far as controlling players and stuff like that.
Right, for sure. I mean, the size of the organization isn't nearly as impressive as the longevity that you guys have.
Yeah. So last year we had 8 lines. We have 1 line. So we had Corey Field as our head coach. He had the red line was all his players from Diamond Hill Paintball. So they came down and played for Phoenix Rising. And then we had a couple lines from here. We always had a premier line, D3, couple lines, D4, and then D5. We always had like 2 or 3 lines. But this year, a lot of players left. So it was a good and bad thing. I mean, good thing they're moving on. You got players that want to play up. And unfortunately, our premier line's pretty stacked. D3 is also pretty much our feeder line to the Premier, and then same thing with D4. It just works your way up, and some guys want to play Premier and D3, and we just don't have room for them. So they say thanks for everything, and they just move on to different teams. But everything else has been good though. I mean, they leave on good terms. We leave on good terms. We see them at the fields. There's plenty of teams out there now that were part of Rising at one point, so it's pretty good. It's pretty nice to see them still playing.
Yeah, for sure. And I bet y'all take some pride in just the amount of impact that you're able to have on the paintball scene and the community as a whole.
Correct. Yes, we try to keep it going. It's a very expensive sport. I mean, hands down, it's a hobby. if for some guys it's a really expensive hobby. If you play NXL, WCPPL, and then I know some guys are playing that USXBL league also. So playing all that, it gets pretty pricey. So I feel like when they say, "Hey, dude, I'm hurting for money. What can we do?" and stuff like that, it's I understand that because I mean, my son plays, so I know how much it is when he's like, "All right, well, I need this, and you need this, and all right, we're flying to Chicago." I'm like, "Whoa, hold on, whoa, what are we doing here?"
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been fun. It's been a good time with Rising.
Yeah, definitely. And then when you add the other bits and bobs on top of it, you're like, wait a second, you mean to tell me that all the players on your team are all shooting twisters and you just have to have a twister, you're gonna get like be the odd one out on your team?
Yeah, and then he started when he was 13, like right around there. Didn't start playing tournaments till he was a little bit later at like end of his 13 going on to 14.
Mm-hmm.
There was a gray line, so that was a dad line. That was
Nice.
literally dad and son. And you play with Andrew Barnes, his
Mm-hmm.
son Vaughn, same age as Joseph. There was another one, Jacob and his dad played. So there was a whole pretty much of kids and dads playing on the gray line. So that's how he got started on that line there. So when we say gray line, that's pretty much the old folks and the younger kids now still playing, but no longer Grays no longer are there. But we're still trying to make a comeback. Maybe a gray line 3v3 into the D6 division.
Mm-hmm. Or I guess whenever they bring the Masters division together, you can be the gray line, the gray hair line.
Well, you see me out there. I don't have time to play. I'm too busy arguing with whoever else that you guys are up next and trying to get paint and temperature of the paint, trying to keep it cool and trying to figure all the little stuff out. And that's the key is the little stuff. And I learned that from Vic. Vic
Mm-hmm.
Came down. He was doing the G2 event there at Battlezone with Brandon Unger. And he was really upset that I had a lot of paint outside and not in cool conditions in Phoenix, Arizona. And that's not how we should practice. So that year we ended up going to Chicago, and I learned a lot from him just on the paint side, just how to control paint management and all that stuff. Was him. That's just a different level. He has a thermometer. He has all kinds of stuff trying to figure all that stuff out. But it works because look at where they're at. I mean, I can't say that hey that I can't do that, but it helps out when the paint is nice and it's brittle when they're shooting guys off the break. So it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure. But you definitely lock it down in the pits now. So let's actually back up a little bit. So this first question is brought to us by XTPL Events. So for those listening that aren't really familiar with you or don't know who you are, how long have you been involved in tournament paintball?
They'll be going on 4 years, going on 5 years this year. So before I took over, it was just the dad role, taking Tulsa to the tournament. Like I said, there was 8 lines at that time, so the gray line. So I would help out with the gray line, so pit management, getting paint, that stuff like that. So the first couple of years was pretty easy because all I had to worry was just one line. I didn't have to worry about all the other lines. But so just took care of Joseph's line. And that was pretty much it with him. So it's about 4 years going on 5 now.
Gotcha. So over the years, have you really just been associated with Phoenix Rising, or have there been any other orgs that you've been in?
That's it. Right. Phoenix Rising, first time coming out to Battlezone was with Joseph. It was in between like baseball and football, and he wanted to try something different. One of our coworkers is really huge into paintball. He's like, hey, to come out play paintball. So we went out to play this regular rec. So we did that for a while. And then we went to El Paso, and he saw the first speedball field pretty much there in El Paso. I think it's X-Moto Speedball. It's where TDMS, those guys.
Yeah, the Donut Shop Mafia, yeah.
Yeah. So that was his first taste of speedball. And after that, we got back. I talked to Casey, and he was like, hey, you need to go to Battlezone. That's where the speedball's at. So we went. And sure enough, Dan, it just happened to be a weekend where Mike Urena at that time was their coach, was there, and they were doing a little clinic and had him crawling up and down the field and all doing all the snake stuff because at that time he was only 13 years old. And that was it, man. He got hooked, and no more football, no more baseball. That's it. It's been paintball through and through. That's all he does now.
I love it. So, So how is it that your son came to join Phoenix Rising? Is that just the team that's local to your area, or?
Yeah, so it is, like I said, it just happened to be a weekend where Mike Urena was out, Dan was out there. We just showed up to the field, didn't know what we were doing pretty much. I was just like, all right, tournament style, no idea, no clue at that time. I mean, rec ball, you just get a bunch of guys, we go out there 10 on 10 and we play. But speedball was a whole different. When we got there, I was like, what is going on here? And then, so like I said, Mike came, Dan brought Mike over, introduced himself. And then after that, it was just practice Saturday. And then we came back Sunday. And then that was it. We've been there every weekend since then.
All right. Yeah. So this question's brought to us by QBRofficial.com. You were telling us a little bit of like how the role, or I guess the title of president got passed down to you, and that was from like just parents of other players that have come through the organization had that role at the time. So for you, was it just, hey, you're involved and you're not necessarily a player role, so that just naturally fell to you, or what was the process there?
Yeah, so like Dan, I traveled with Dan a lot, with Joseph, his son. We went to the tournaments, and then so on the ways back, he was like, "Hey, my son's not going to play that much this year, this and that." So we sort of talked about it, like me taking over. So before that, I did run a baseball organization. So from T-ball all the way up to travel 16, 17-year-olds. So it wasn't new to me. I knew how to do it. It's just a different sport from baseball, just going over to paintball pretty much. So I told him what I did. I played baseball, and I told him that I should be able to pretty much hopefully handle this. If you pass it down to, I don't think I'm going to mess it up that bad. But yeah, no, the first tournament was a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages. Hey, how's it going? Hey, what's this? How's this team doing? It was the phone did ring a lot. The first tournament that I was by myself, it was fun.
Yeah, and I bet you couldn't quite tell what exactly you were getting yourself into. Suddenly you're like, what, we had practice this weekend? Wait, the event's next weekend? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean you don't have a jersey? Like,
yeah, oh yeah, the jersey thing, or yeah. Oh, dealing with paintballers is like grown kids. The batteries were how many guys asked for batteries right when they showed up? And the same guys that put batteries in, the next day, hey, you have batteries? What are the batteries you just got out of the trailer? Like, where did they go? And I forgot a mask. I think one guy on the D4 line forgot a mask and a pod pack. Oh, the whole thing. So luckily we carry a lot of extra stuff just for this situation. And I learned that along when we were starting with Dan, that cleats, we have extra cleats in the trailer, jerseys, pants, you name it, we got it.
Yep. I can't tell you. So I'm the guy that usually brings all the extra stuff on my team. So all the time I'm here like, hey, you have extra cleats, or like we're midway through the season and then you hear like, hey, are chin straps required at this league? Like, what do you mean? We're on the 4th event. You know? Oh man. So
straps thing. So I mean, I think that when we played right before, I think the guy's mask fell off when he dove into the snake and he hit the mask off. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. Chin straps I think should be required. I know WC is not you don't have to wear it, but yeah, it's just scary.
I mean, there's I will never harm anybody or like talk bad about them for trying, rule number 1 is protect yourself at all times. So, if wearing a chin strap you think is not ag, then you know what? Then you're taking that into your own hands.
Yeah, good luck.
I don't think it's worth the hassle. Just wear the chin strap,
one little clip, and you're good.
Yeah, exactly. So this question's brought to us by BemRap. So as far as your current role as president of Phoenix Rising, what all does that involve, both at the events and then like the week to week otherwise?
So yesterday was registration for WC. So registered all the teams. At that time, we didn't know location until yesterday. So now it's getting with Cooch, which is our premier guy that from the premier line, coaching, hotels, flights for the premier guys, and just pretty much start getting ready for practices for this Sunday going out. Make sure we have paint. I think one weekend we did almost run out of paint. We luckily that we had enough paint for that week, but it was close. So that was on me. I didn't order enough paint from Todd. And I was like, no, we should have enough for the next 2 weeks. And no, we had a scrimmage that Cooch didn't tell me about, and it was scary because I don't want to run out of paint at practice and have to hear it from the guys about not having paint. But yeah, just being on top of the paint pretty much for practices and getting all the equipment there and just make sure these guys are on top of it. I mean, I call them during the week to make sure that they're good. Payments is a big one. Hunting down players, the lower divisional guys is, pay your bills. We got this shit ain't free. That's one of the big things is trying to keep on top of that. But yeah, but besides that, I mean, that's pretty much it. Getting ready for the event. Trailer, you saw the trailer, tables, waters. I learned the hard way. We went to Costco. Usually we take waters from Phoenix to California. Mm. I was like, no, it's going to be too much weight on the trailer. We'll just get it when we get there. No, they charge you $1 or what was it? $1 per bottle tab, a dollar extra per bottle. So it says or something, but it's not. They charge you $1 extra per bottle. So we learned that the hard way. So this event, I'll be taking, even though it's heavy, I'll be taking the waters from Phoenix now. So it saves some money for the guys.
Gotcha.
And snacks. You saw snacks. That's all my wife though. That's from Caliber Collision over there because it was up to me the way you guys played. You guys don't get no snacks.
Hey man, I tried.
Good. I really thank you for coming out. I mean, you pulled off that 3-on-1. That was crazy. I was like, how are you still alive after that whole chaos? And you were still there and running down, hit the buzzard. I think that was to win it pretty much, right? That was to end the thing, and then that was for the playoffs, to go into the playoffs.
Yeah, that was, I went back and watched it because everybody was like wondering exactly what had happened. So in 3 consecutive points, it was a 2-on-1, a 5-on-2, and a 1-on-3. So, yeah, I definitely earned my keep in that match alone.
Yeah, you balled out for sure. You did. It was a good tournament. You had a good tournament.
Yeah,
and then go land. But there's some tough teams in WC. A lot of people don't understand that when you go to NXL into WC, there's some really tough teams.
For sure, and just the amount of games that you have to play, like
yeah, it's a lot, especially the D4 division, because you only play 2 on Saturday, and then you play the rest of 2 on Sunday, and then after that, it's back to back. I don't think we had maybe a 30-minute lunch break after that, and then you guys were playing again.
I think it was less than that. I think after that Ocho's game, it was like maybe 10 minutes, and then we were straight into quarters. It was not a long time.
Not a lot of time. No. So the conditioning, and then especially on the D4 guys on learn line, you had some older guys and some bigger guys, and the conditioning is what gets you guys.
Yeah, for sure. So this question's brought to us by Mariachi Aguilas de Oro. So your son, as far as like being able to help your son Joseph along his journey, how has that experience been, just like having the opportunity to be there supporting his playing career his entire time?
It's been good. Like I said, he's had a lot of coaches since he started. Like I said, Mike Urena, when he used to live here in Phoenix, lives down in Texas now. When he was here every weekend, he was always at the field. Joseph always asking 1,000 questions. But every coach that he's been with, that we've had, Corey, Brandon Unger, before he went into the military, they would go to the park and work on sliding and work on just fundamental stuff. So, I mean, watching him grow as a person, especially since he was 13 and growing up, now seeing him now 17 going into 18, the maturity, because I mean he's one of the youngest on the lines, except for Sammy, which is they're about the same age. Sammy's 17 also. Watching them two grow together, even the younger guys on the gray line, just watching the kids grow who they are now and the way they carry themselves on the field, it's really good to see, especially when they put it on the older guys, and then the older guys come, hey, you better tell Joseph to stop overshooting. I was like, no. He learned that from you guys. And come back and tell me that, hey, you tell Joseph he needs to stop overshooting when he's playing because we're gonna shoot him. I was like, go right ahead. I don't think he's gonna argue with you at all because you guys are the ones that taught him all that stuff, all the bad stuff that they taught him. He's putting it back on him, and it's pretty fun at practice when he's picking on the older guys and they're coming and crying to me.
I love it. Love it. Yeah, don't stop that. You got to play hard. Yeah, it's just what do you mean? You guys started it. Like now he's finally learned how to give it right back.
Yeah, well, I mean, so at one tournament for WC, he was pod running in between because you see for Rising, we got a pod run for each line. That's just a mandatory thing that we do. At that time, he was pod running for Midwest Army, which was Cooch, Cody Rich, a lot of guys from Distortion and BC Riot. So those guys are a different breed, man. The Chicago guys, they're a different kind of paintball. They eat, live, and breathe paintball. So he learned a lot from watching them play. And like I said, Cooch does a great job coaching on the weekends. And he just points out what he needs to work on, and he pretty much tells them, hey, you need to do this and you need to do that. And luckily, he's been pretty good at listening and understanding what he needs to do to get better in paintball. And so we'll see. It's a senior year this year, so I don't know how much slack he's going to go off this year from paintball, which I'll give him. It's his senior year. He started wrestling. He wrestled last year, so I know it's like right around fall season. So we'll see what happens. I see him still playing. I hope he still plays. But we'll see. We'll see what the journey holds for him. But besides that, I mean, I see myself with Ryzen. I love these guys. I mean, the Premier guys are a great group of guys. You coming down here playing, you saw the camaraderie. We go out to eat, the whole thing, hang out afterwards. It's a good group of guys to hang around with, and I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, paintball is just that whole other level of connection that you get. Like, you really don't find that once you graduate high school and you don't have all these sports teams or other like clubs to be a part of. Like, paintball is one of the few places that you can really build the connections like this. Yes.
Yeah, and it's all ages too. I mean, all ages that are out there playing. Battlezone put a line in this event, and most of those guys are just practice guys out at the field. And there's this one gentleman there. I think he's got to be, in his like probably 60s. Well, Rod didn't go there. Unfortunately, he had a death in the family. So Rod actually plays on the blue line, and he 72, 73. We call him Mr. Miyagi because he won balls. Corey yells at him all the time. Roll your gun. He goes, Corey, it only takes one ball to get him out. So we sent him up the middle, and he does a great job. He's a character, man. He's a good guy.
I love it. So this question is brought to us by Colt Roberts, Paintball Kumite. So Phoenix Rising, I know at one point you had like 8 or 9 lines. Currently you're at 3, but structurally you guys do a lot of things that shows that like you're a true organization for paintball. So like you have all of these tents, coolers, pod fillers, you bring a trailer to the events, you're bringing in coaches from professional teams. So what are some other things on like an organizational or a structural level that sets Phoenix Rising apart from other teams and organizations?
I would say probably I can't say money, but I mean, we've been doing this for a very long time. So a lot of the stuff, great sponsorships throughout the years. HK was really big for us. This year we switched to Defy and we went to weapons. But HK, we have the tents from HK still. All those stuff that we had, I mean, it was all passed down from years before to me. And just keeping it going. I mean, it's it's been, how could I explain it with the structure? It's been good. Going down some lines is not as chaotic it is in the pits anymore or in the tents area. But I mean, it sort of does feel like where are we going as far as the lines are. I don't want to base our organization based on the lines that we have, because sometimes we had, like I said, we had 7, 8 lines. I think the most we had was 8. Was like last year at the event 4, which was really chaotic. You got to get extra coaches. Even at last event, we had John and we had Cooch that coaches out, and like, hey, Premier plays, D3 plays, and then on Saturday, if all, like on the first event, all 3 teams made it through. So it's like everybody's playing, trying to get coaches out there, and it's sort of chaotic with 8 lines down to 3. Now we're down to 2 coaches now right now. But yeah, it's been a little bit easier this season so far with just 3 lines, but we'll see what happens. I know we're trying to do a young guns division. That's really where I want to still keep the young guys still coming out. So we're trying to get that going, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, whoever wants to come out and play, just let me know. We've got plenty of guys that are willing to put a line together, and we'll get it going.
Well, with Phoenix Rising, with how long the organization's been around, being able to accumulate equipment, knowledge over many, many years is like, hey, we have these things that we're not in startup mode anymore. Like,
yeah. So it's a little bit easier that way. But the thing about it is we always do a survey at the end of the season for the players. So what do we need to change? What do we need to do? How was coaching? You know what I mean? The whole work. So we, at the end of the year, we send out a survey, we see it. A lot of them were, hey, JT, the mask, this and that. So that was one of the main reasons why we did switch this year, just to see what was going to happen with the masks. The Premier guys, they were up and down with it. I mean, because I said with our sponsorship, the way we have it set up, most of that stuff goes to the Premier guys, and it trickles down to D3 and D4. So as long as Premier is doing good, I think that's where our statue is. You see Rising in the top, in the Premier division, then we'll get more lines underneath, because I think that's how we can grow the organization back up the way it used to be. Was we had a really legit Premier line. I know the Blue Line won it the year before, and so last year they played pretty much free paintball for WC, because you win the series title, you get to play the following year. So you bump up, but it's that's where we're at now with those lines. Is we want to get it up, but it's like, do we want to? I don't know. It's a hit and miss. It's a lot of guys.
Right, for sure. Yeah, I know a lot of teams kind of go through that process of growing the organization members wise, and then that can get to be a lot to manage, especially just for one person, and then like trimming down to just focus on having a good product on the field is ultimately what the goal is, right?
100%. Yes. You don't want to just put out lines and we're going 0-4 every event. Like, you know what I mean? That it's getting fun. And then also the guys don't want to go down. They're spending a lot of money to go down and travel, and they're going 0-4 and going home. It's not fun at all for anybody going 0-4. So trying to put a competitive line together with the people that we have, that's the tricky little thing. How do people work with each other? Because paintball, it's collective. You have attitudes here, attitudes there. Some guys don't play good together. Off the field, you can be a great guy, but on the field, it's like, man, I cannot stand that guy. And so it rubs off. So then you go, all right, well, then we can move him to this line, move this guy over. But then you're taking out a good player from this line here, and it's plug and play. It's hard. Trying to figure some of this stuff out. Luckily, you came along and you fit right in with the guys. I mean, the first question you say, what do you need to work on? Communication. Well, the first match you had, we had one guy in our snake that didn't say one word the whole thing, and I said, I told you, don't get mad. I told you.
No, we've all been there. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that I was that guy, right? And just being knowing where that comes from and knowing how to eventually work it out. It's all just experience. So,
Quick story, real quick. So speaking about that, Mike Urano's coaching the gray line.
Mm.
At that time, it was nothing but the kids. I'm talking about maybe they're like 14, 15. Mike's pro dynasty. Hey, we're doing this. We're going to do this. We're going to shoot the dragon. We're going to go this. We're going to do here. All right. All the kids say, all right, coach, good. Boom. Go to the box. Buzzer rings. Mayhem. Guys going left, guys going right. Mike's yelling. I was like, look, Mike, they're kids. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Just tell them, bunker, dumb it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then shoot straight. Because those kids will shoot wherever they see anything moving, they're shooting. So poor refs on that side too. But yeah, no, that was just a quick story with that one.
No, I know what that's like. So remember, I have a background in elementary education. So when you said earlier that paintballers are like all bunch of grown up kids and managing, all these toddlers, that's exactly what it is. I think,
100%.
I think teaching in elementary school probably prepared me more for paintball than anything else in my life has.
Patience,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of patience.
Definitely. For sure. So this question is brought to us by Jared Sherman of Austin Notorious, TexanHemp.com. So for an organization of your size, it must be a challenge to do all of that behind the scenes work. So is it just you that does the more administrative stuff, or do you have a team or an officer board that assists you?
So we do have a team. We have the president, then Brandon. Brandon really behind the scenes. He had a baby last year. He played the first event, had a baby the year before. So I believe she's going to be 2 years old. He does pretty much a lot of the backbone of everything that has to do with Rising. I might be the face of Rising, which is not a very good one, but I mean, I'm there. But Brandon does a phenomenal job as far as finance, getting all the stuff organized pretty much for billing. He's handing in with the sponsorships, negotiations, and stuff like that. It's him and Dan that do a great job behind the scenes. We do talk. I talked to Brandon, and like Dan has been on vacation quite a bit this season. But before that, a lot of communication between us three, pretty much where we see the organization going. Eventually, we want to go into NXL. Where that's the goal of the next couple of years that we have. But yeah, that's literally Brandon. Brandon is the key thing to this whole thing, because without him, I'd pretty much probably be lost, because he does a lot of this stuff for me. I could just send him a message real quick. Hey, I forgot to order paint. Can you send a quick email? He sends it out real quick. Uniform orders. I mean, this year we haven't been too crazy with how many guys we have in the organization this year, but this thing about, I think, one HK order, I think we had almost $4,000 worth of product trying to coming in. So organize who ordered what were we missing, who ordered this, who ordered that. It was some long nights getting all the stuff ready, especially when we had 8-9 lines with the uniforms. Especially because some guys we have the uniform order lines, and some don't even fill it out. And we go to the event and we're like, hey, where's my uniform? Oh, what do you mean, where's your uniform? Like, you didn't order one? Oh, no. I thought you guys fill it out for us. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. So yeah, that's the fun. So actually, we always order extra jerseys. Like when you came and had extra jersey, we always make 2 or 3, because you always either have one guy that's for some reason forgets his jersey or doesn't order one for event 1, and then we'll just work our way through the events. So luckily, we got 4 events through the year, so we could at least by event 4 have it down packed, but then go back to event 1 the next season. We're back to square one. That's usually how it is.
And I know about all of that, managing orders and man. So for you, and this one's brought to us by Pod Runners Union. So as far as any advice that you have for anybody maybe aspiring to create their own paintball team, or maybe looking to improve how they run things, do you have any advice for them?
I would have to say, like anything else, money is going to be an issue with anything. It's going to separate people. It's going to bring people arguing, hey, you're doing this for, I gave you money for this, or I know you're making money, extra money for charging me for this and this and that. So I would say we're an open book. Anybody that has questions on our end for our organization, if they, hey, dude, I don't understand this bill that I got. Why is it this X amount? We got everything on spreadsheets. So we literally click it out. Hey, this is where you're at. This is what you owe. This is what was for practice. This is what was for coaching fees, hotels, flights, and everything else. This is what it all comes down to. So I would say the biggest thing, as long as you have good people that you're with on your team, and you guys are trustworthy, and just communicate with at least 2-3 guys that you have that are core, and then from there you can just build little by little, and go from there. I know pole position, that was not overnight. I can't say overnight, but I know from one year they only had one line, the D5. After they won the D5 division, I think they got like 3 or 4 lines now. Same thing with AZ Alliance. Was some of those guys were on Rising, they got like 4 or 5 lines. So I'm hopefully they learned a little bit from Rising and using that towards their organization. But yeah, it's just I would say just money wise, I think that's the biggest thing, man. That's a huge thing for our end too, is this money. If you're comfortable with handling money and be able to pay bills and be open with guys, hey dude, we had an entry fee for this and this is what it is. I need you guys to pay up front. Oh, I can, and this and that. Then it starts like, all right, so now we got to make this kind of money for this guy here and this, and life happens. You know what I mean? I get that, jobs and stuff, but that's a huge thing. Would be money. That's the big thing for an organization. Would have to be a money thing.
For sure. I've seen so many really good organizations that have top level finishes and even winning events crumble because of money issues, because of what other lack of transparency. You know, the second that 1 or 2 guys think, oh, I'm getting cheated financially, yep, like that organization is done for the second that happens.
Yep. Yeah. So at WC, they gave out cash, you know what I mean? So, hey, well, where's my cut? Well, hold on. Well, we got to wait. So we got to dish that, you know, we had to pay the paint up front. We have the stuff that we have to pay up front. And then we put that money. It's like, hey, this is what you guys won. This is what's going to go for the next event. So then now your entry is less, or you don't pay any entry. And so now you guys just worry about paint. So like I said, if you're able to narrow down where that money's going and they have questions and you're able to answer, I think that narrows down a lot of things. It cuts down a lot of questions right out of the gate. Like, hey, dude, I gave you this. Well, no, hold on. Wait, let me see. That's why we use that app. We use TeamSnap for input, stuff like that. And if they don't pay on that, I say, hey, send me a text, show me a screenshot that you zelled it or something, and we can take care of it that way. But yeah, that's the biggest thing is going to be money for the tournaments.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing that you said was finding a core group of, 2 or 3 or 4 guys. Like, don't put it all on one guy. There are so many things that go into running a team, not just the on the field stuff, which takes a lot to be able to focus and improve on your own game. But even if you're lucky to have a guy like Benny that isn't a player that is able to run all of these things behind the scenes and, has that playing portion not on his plate, like even then that's still a ton of work. So like finding a group to do these things and delegate the tasks, like make sure like, hey, this guy's responsible for the jerseys or the gear order, this other guy's responsible for scheduling scrimmages, this guy's responsible for making sure entries paid up and all the rosters are submitted on time. Think like if you can delegate those tasks, things get so much easier, and you're gonna see these core guys like not get burnt out, and suddenly like you're one of your central pieces on your team are just they get burnt out and they're gone from the game.
Yeah, one season, one and done, and like, it's too much work. I was like, yeah, it's a lot, and so they don't understand the whole thing, especially with paint. Especially, I mean, with us, luckily we have a paint deal with Defy. You know what I mean? So we're able to get that stuff. But you got some teams that don't. They got to go to the field, and they're paying premium price for paint, and it gets pricey really quick. A good practice, 3-4 cases per person, it adds up. That's at least $200 going into just a practice for the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. So, another thing about Phoenix Rising is that you've built a connection with several members of the Blast Camp Pro team. So how was it that y'all established that connection?
So Cooch, Alex, you met Alex. He moved down from Chicago to Phoenix. At that time, he was playing for Midwest Army. They were playing WC, and then he was going back and forth with Blast Camp playing NXL. He wanted to start a local premier line because, like you said, once you start practicing together, you grow together. You have a pretty good basis of getting better pretty quick if you have your core group of guys. He still had connect. So last year we had Zach Hogue on our line. This year we have Vass, and then we brought in Brandon Unger. Michael Unger as our coach, and then John, Little John for this coach here too. So pretty much our connections through Cooch. That's he's the ones that pretty much introduced me to those guys from Blast Camp, and he pretty much. I might be talking to you as a president, but he's just as much sending messages every day. We're talking pretty much every other day about players and who we need to do and stuff like that to make the organization. Like I said, his vision for Rising is to play semi-pro and try to get that spot for the pro division. Is it going to happen? I hope it does. But like I said, we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's with him. That's our goal is NXL.
Well, NXL is a big stage, but I mean WC is a massive tournament series in its own right, and I know plenty of eyes are on that, and the teams that come out of that are doing well too.
Yeah, there was a team on Premier I think that just registered. There was a lot of pro guys on there, if I look correctly, which will be pretty interesting. Paintball Fit was there last year, I believe. The year before also too. They played a couple events. They won a couple, and then I think towards the end, the Misfits guys were pretty much the one that was the Misfits last year that won it. And then I know they were there the year before. So it'll be interesting. Premier the Premier division is always tough. This event that I see the teams that are registering, there's some new teams out there that we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm looking at the team with all the pros. Their name on PB Leagues right now is the Three-Legged Bandits, and it's the Boyan brothers, Ivan Gonzalez, Shane Howe, David Vasquez, and Vitukov from the old DMG team. So that'll be interesting to see those guys how they're able to perform.
It'll be fun.
Sure. So this question's brought to us by FU Athletics. So throughout your entire, short time in paintball, do you have a single favorite moment so far?
Our first NXL event was it 2022 when we went to the Windy City. I think it was 2022. That would have to be my highlight. It was chaotic. It was fun. It was the trip started off great, and then we checked into our hotel and it was a disaster. And we had to move hotels and it's midnight. We have to play, or it was Thursday. It was such chaotic, that whole thing, trying to get everything situated for there. But it was a fun trip. That was my first trip with the semi-pro guys. We played semi-pro that year, or for that event, and it was a fun one. So Joseph came along. He played Division 5 for the Storm Riders. He took second. That was his first time he podiumed for NXL. So his first event podium was actually pretty fun. He played on the big stage. The only thing is we never play in the rain. So it rained that Sunday. It has happened to be our first match was against Blast Camp too. So Cooch had a game plan, started raining. That game plan went out the window pretty quick because us Arizonians, we don't know how to play in the rain. It sprinkles and they close down the field. So we don't know what we're doing in the rain. And it poured. It poured in Chicago. That was crazy. But that was my highlight so far has been Chicago. It's been fun.
Sweet. Love it. Yeah, you guys should come play in Texas every now and then. You'll get all sorts of weather.
No, I just saw the video. No, it's too humid over there. I mean, right now the humidity here in Arizona is pretty crazy too. We got like I said, it was 112 today. And it was just crazy today.
Yeah, it's not much better in Texas, I can tell you that.
I was there for 2 years. We still have an office down there, and it's yeah. I don't like going down there. The humidity's crazy down in Houston.
Oh yeah, yeah, especially in Houston. So this next question is brought to us by 71 Designs. So when I was talking to you a little bit more at that last WC event, I was asking you about like how you guys fundraise, and you told me that Phoenix Rising was a registered 501c3. So tell us more. What does that mean exactly?
It's pretty much like a nonprofit organization. So it's a little bit easier to go ask for money when the people that are giving you money ask you, hey, are you guys nonprofit? You guys have a tax exemption number. So it's pretty much like a write-off for them. It's a little bit easier. I think it's easier for like T-ball and like baseball, football and stuff like that. But like you go ask for money for paintball, like what? Excuse me? You do what? Yeah, it's paintball. And they're like, yeah, no, we're good. So, I mean, it helps out. We have a couple, like I said, High Tech Automation's our main sponsor. They help out a lot. The pod fillers that we have, that's all online. They make them there at the store. So some of that stuff there goes through High Tech. But yeah, I think just raising money a little bit easier when you have a tax exempt form. So when you give it to a corporation, or you go to just your local bar and grill and say, hey dude, do you guys want to sponsor us? Or hey, can you sponsor us for like $300-400? I mean, it just doesn't sound like a lot, but to be honest, that's a couple cases of paint that's going to help out. So at the tournament, or for instance, we got to pay for somebody's travel or stuff like that for coaching. So it helps out a little bit. As far as the player end, they don't have to dish out so much money for an event.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even $300-400, that's media booking, or that's a coaching fee, like that, or that's, let's say like a set of 5, or that could be everybody's masks for the season. That stuff adds up pretty quick whenever you take all of those extra little nickel and dime things throughout the season off of the players' plates. And it's just, hey, you still got to worry about paint and entry and, some of your own travel and all that. But like when you're not worrying about some of these extra things like media or gear or coaching fees, and, that makes it much more bearable.
Yeah, a little bit easier.
So as far as like how Phoenix Rising, what were those steps that they had to take to acquire this status?
So you got to have you got to have a group, you got to have a president. So when I got transferred in, you got to it's like a vote. You got to get voted in. At that time, I don't think it was really that hard because not a lot of people wanted my position. So it was pretty unanimous. Hey, vote. Who wants to do here? Yeah, I hear Benny this. But yeah, so you pretty much got to make you got to have your president, your treasurer. You have to have all that stuff. So luckily, there's some people still on the board that are still part of. I would have to say still part of Rising. They don't play anymore, but they still send out emails. Hey, we need to do this. Hey, we got. I know we did a grant for Fiesta Bowl because we always have the Fiesta Bowl here. They do have grants that they dish out. So I know we filed for one a while back. We haven't done anything really this year or last year for grants. So far, it's been a lot of out of player pocket, or like I said, a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff from my wife's company, Caliber Collision, and they help out just a little bit for that. But we're trying. I would say we're gonna do a better job at trying to raise a little bit more money this year, next year, or the end of this year, or going into next year, to help the team out, the organization out a little bit better.
For sure. And for anybody who's in the chat, I know that there's not many teams out there that are taking advantage of things like this. So if you have questions about this whole process, please get them in the chat. We'll talk about them before we close. So what are the things that Phoenix Rising has to do in order to keep this tax exempt status?
You got to pay a fee. I believe it's every year or every 2 years. I wouldn't. Brandon would probably know that probably better, and then also Brian is another one that's on there. But I think it's like after you apply, I believe the renewal fee is like around $100, right around there, to keep the status for tax exempt.
Gotcha. And that's
Yeah,
basically it, or do you also?
so for that is background checks. They do background checks. So just give you a heads up, because fraud and all that stuff, because you're dealing with money. So like I said, when we go back to all that stuff, if anything comes up, fraud, I don't think you'll be qualified for any of that stuff. So I had to do a background check. Luckily I passed. Good. And if we're here now.
For sure. So, so as far as the structure there, do you also have to have like a board, an officer board? Do you have to have meeting minutes, things like that, or?
Yeah, well, not as much as we used to. We still do. We used to have it a lot. I would say last year we had a little bit more meetings, functional meetings, every every month. Brandon would put them together pretty much like this. Pretty much everybody get online and do a little quick, hey, what's our stuff? What's going on for this month, or what we need to do, and stuff like that. This year, like I said, it's been a little bit more quieter. We really haven't done that much sponsorship stuff this year. It's just been crazy. With work and everything else, it's actually having like two jobs, running an organization and trying to work. It's rough. I almost missed event one. Was crazy. Event one was a whole disaster. I didn't hear the end of the premiere guys crying, because it showed full on the waiting list. Oh, you don't understand how many phone calls I got, and that was on me. That was I registered us, and usually for WC events, it doesn't sell out. The premiere or the D3 don't really sell out, and registered, didn't pay, and it was a fiasco, event one. So now we're good though. I paid for event 3. We're all good to go. All 3 lines are registered and paid for, so we're good.
Yeah, for anybody out there in another region, like some of these like regional tournaments like WC and how USXBL used to be a few years ago, was if you weren't ready with credit card in hand, as soon as registration opened, there was a good chance you were not playing that event, because the division would fill up.
Yeah. And on top of that, the California time, Mike goes off of California time. So we're off. We don't change time. So event 1 was, I think they were behind or ahead of us or something like that. And I almost missed it. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to just go ahead and just register real quick. I'll pay tomorrow. I think that was when I just ended up paying for NXL. So our funds were really low at that time. Like, we were just getting started. We had to pay NXL. NXL's pricey. That's one thing about NXL. It's a little bit pricier than WC. And yeah, that was on me. that was a fun 2 weeks trying to figure out if we were going to play WC that first event.
Oh man. Yeah, well, paintball team needs to play paintball at paintball tournaments, so it's kind of a core part of your organization there.
Oh, you don't understand the phone calls, the messages. We're not playing event 1. The season's over. I was like, it's literally been one day. Can we just get crazy? I messaged Mike. I said, dude, what can I tell the guys? We'll be fine. So I literally screenshotted our conversation from Mike to the guys and say, hey, this is what Mike said. Don't worry about anything. You'll be fine. We're just gonna figure it out. Because like Mike told me, it's all through the league, the PB leagues. So they put all that stuff on there. He just got to make a phone call, and they'll open everything up. So I tell him, hey, dude, what is that? And then so I get text message, what does that mean? He's just said, give it a week or 2, and everything will be fine. Like, oh, dude, it was bad. And it was not from our divisional guys. It was our premier guys. Our premier guys were the worst.
That doesn't surprise me at all. So as far as having, being able to have this tax exempt status, over the years, in what ways has it helped out the organization?
Since I really wasn't there when they first got it started, but I believe that's how most of the stuff they got now. The HK sponsorship through there, able to get the paint delivered to High Tech and store it there at their facility. And like I said, mostly all the sponsorship at that time before I took over was pretty much already established, already ahead of time for me. So a lot of that stuff got handed down to me pretty much in the platter. So it was literally a lot easier for me. like I said, this year, like I said, we've done a couple things here and there with some other companies to get some money for it. But yeah, but pretty much it's been handed down to me. So it's been nice. Grateful for it.
For sure. And do you think that not having this status would mean that you wouldn't have some of these sponsorship opportunities?
Yeah, I think it would probably be a lot harder to probably get some of these sponsorships, especially probably some of the paint deals and stuff like that. I mean, I think it would be a little bit harder if we didn't have any of that stuff, because like I said, we try. It's expensive. A pallet of paint we go through 2 pallets a month. That's a lot. That's a lot of paint that we go through. So it's I think that without that'd be pretty rough to go to a field and buy paint at wholesale, than trying to get a good practice in, and only able to get 2 cases at 45, I think, or $35 a case for level 3 GI.
Gotcha. So have you found that as far as being a tax exempt organization, is that a norm amongst some of the other teams in your realm, or are you one of the few that have that status as far as you're aware?
One of the few, to be honest with you. I think one of the few. So there's really, I don't know, I couldn't say. The only one that really practices at, excuse me, at our location was Elevation. Um, I don't know how Steve. I know Steve does a lot of this stuff for. They had violence and some of the other stuff, but I don't think they were tax exempt. I know some of the other teams have came up to me and asked me about tax exempt, and I've told what they need to do as far as how to proceed with that stuff. How they done it, I have no idea. But yeah, it's hit and miss with these teams. They don't take advantage of some of the stuff that's out there, especially to fill out a couple paperwork and get some stuff filled out. Especially if you're gonna be playing paintball for a while, it's pretty easy to get this stuff figured out and have something a little bit easier to go ask for money. I mean, it's like you said, $300-400. It goes a long way in paintball.
Definitely. So, do you have any words of wisdom for any team leaders out there that might start looking into this process?
Good luck. I mean, it's it's hard to say, and like I said, it's been. I can really say it's been a cakewalk for me. Like I said, it's been really easy. Like I learned, like I said, I've been with Rising now for 5 years, so I learned 3 years into it. How Dan ran everything. So going from paintball to baseball, it was a little bit. I mean, baseball, you're buying a dozen baseballs every couple months. I don't gotta buy. You know what I mean? You gotta buy 2-3 cases a practice Saturdays, Sundays. So all I can say is good luck, man. If you have any questions, reach out to us or to me. I'll answer as best as I can. Give you any information you guys need. But I would say there's some stuff out there that some organizations don't take care of. And like I said, there's money out there in the States that are that's available for the teams. Just because it's you're older or it's paintball, whatever, there's still, you can still ask for some money. And like I said, it goes a little bit of money goes a long way. And if you go to like I said, regular bar and grill, you're there. Hey, we'll come eat here. All right, we'll cut you a $500 check to come to check, and they write it off on their taxes. It's really not a big deal for them, especially even if you have you're a company, you're playing for you're playing as I have one guy that has asked for the tax ID number. He goes through his company to play for us. So he actually gets sponsored through his company, and he does all that stuff through them. They cut him a check. He gives it to us, and then they get a tax exempt number from us, and then they're pretty much playing paintball on the company's dime, which is pretty nice. It's easier that way than trying to ask for money and say, "Oh, well, yeah, okay, well, I'm going to give you $300. So what do I get out of it?" Well, you have a tax ID number. It's a little bit easier to get that money at the end of the year.
Definitely. Are there any other things that you're doing in return for these sponsors? Like things like social media posts, or like maybe doing events with them, or
yeah. So we have to do social. We have to do Instagram. Do all that stuff. I'm not very. You saw it today. Not very good at it. My wife does a lot of it. I know Garrett is part of it. I know he doesn't want me to say his name over, but too bad. He's still a little upset because his name didn't go on the jersey. So he's the one that took your guys' pictures at the event. So he does a little bit more. He has access to the Instagram stuff, and he does a lot of the practice stuff and posting and stuff like that. So I know that we haven't been on top of it, and it's been my fault. But practice in this heat, you want to get in and get out. So me taking pictures and videos and stuff like that for practice, it's a little tough, especially when you get some guys that you try to put them in charge to fill pods, and you'd be surprised how bad they can mess that up real quick. I don't know if they do it on purpose, so I don't ask them to do it again. But yeah, hey, can you fill pods real quick for your line while I go take some pictures? I come back and the premier guys are grabbing from there and they're shaking like maracas, and they're like, "No, who filled pods?" And they get fired, and so it's a mess. But yeah, we do have to do a little bit better job on media side on my end to do it. But yeah, that's one thing we're working on. We're working on little by little, working on it.
I love it. Yeah. I know the last time that I was able to have this kind of discussion was, I think, back in episode like 3 or 5 or something. So almost, 2 years ago now, where I was talking with Niles, who currently his son plays for Austin Notorious, but previously he was the owner of the Texas Cyclones. And he was saying that some of the other things that he was doing as part of, I guess, sponsorship appreciation was he was doing things like filming commercials for like a local tire company in Houston, or going out and doing a Thanksgiving, like volunteering at a soup kitchen on Thanksgiving on behalf of like a law firm that sponsors them or something like that. Are there any of those type of things that you do?
No. So I know High Tech has a lot of the employees that play for Rising that work for High Tech. But as far as that, no, we haven't done any of that stuff. And it's I know we do Toys for was it Toys for Drive, a drive thing for at the end of the year for we do a little tournament for that. Not through Rising though, it's through DAS, but we try to enter as much as we can because we have a huge presence in that stuff. So I try to get most of these guys, hey, let's try to do the local series, let's try to do this and let's try to do that, so we can keep our name relevant in there and just try to get our sponsorship out there as much as we can and to help out.
Gotcha, for sure. All right. So yeah, looking ahead, and this one's brought to us by Hydra. So the next WC event is just over a month away now. So how is Phoenix Rising getting ready to come back even stronger at the next one?
Well, since we're registered now, so we're good. Now the practices, the scrimmages, setting up the scrimmages, we have one set up for this Sunday at Wild West. We're going to go down there, scrimmage. The only thing here, like I said, we only have one premier line. Last year we had Elevation here, which was a big, another premier division team that was here. A lot of those guys came over to Rising after they broke up. So now to put a premier, to find good caliber teams here in Arizona for our premier division, it's really tough. Not saying they're not good quality players, but our premier guys are pretty good. And trying to figure out, all right, what's the best thing to do? Do we go to Vegas? Do we go to ASG? Do we go to SE Village? What do we do as far as practice wise? Because I just can't think about one line. I got multiple lines to think about. Like, so I can't just drop, hey, well, Premier is going here. You guys are on your own. So I gotta coordinate with Andrew or somebody else. Hey, what if we do D3, D4, and I'll get a couple other teams. We scheduled TDMS for them, the donut guys to come down. So I got a lot of guys from the Premier. I told them it's a little bit mixture because a lot of the Premier guys play NXL. So when they were coming down, I said, hey, I could get some guys that don't play NXL to come down, play with the D3 guys, and you guys will have a great practice. And they did. I think we shot 60 cases that weekend. Or that day, actually, we only practiced one day. I think it was 30 cases per team per line, which is a pretty good practice. And then we saw them play, and they took third, I believe, or fourth down at the USC. So he sent me a good, hey, appreciate it. And they're trying to come back out here. The only thing is Tucson, Marana, which is halfway point between El Paso and Phoenix. Well, it's a 4-hour drive. So they drive all the way to Phoenix. It's 6 hours. They're closed in the summertime because it's really hot out there. So they got to drive all the way down to Phoenix to practice. So they're trying to come down here at the end of July or next week or 2 weeks from now. They're trying to come down because I think USBL is at the end of the month, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're trying to come down before their event 3. So trying to schedule practices and see what we need to do. That's the goal the next couple days. This Sunday we're already locked in, so we'll talk about Sunday, see what we want to do, and go from there. Because I know what's her name now? Denver Altitude. They used to be Blitz. Yeah, so those guys used to play on Rising Premier Line. So we don't know what we're talking about because the flights to Colorado a little bit are cheaper. So we could fly down to Colorado and figure all that stuff out. So it's just trying to figure out our next practices and that the next couple days. But Sunday for sure we'll have a big team meeting and see where we're at as far as practice wise.
Gotcha. Well, if you guys ever want to switch things up and come see how we do it in Texas, just let me know. We'll get you in at X Factor.
That's true. I got to take the pods. I got to take all that stuff for these guys. These guys.
We can help you out on pods and all that.
We flew to Chicago. Luckily, my wife's company, they're nationwide. So we went to Chicago. We shipped everything through her company or to her location. So we were able to fly in, go pick it up. And then we literally on the way back, we just shipped it back to Phoenix. So luckily that was an option for us. But man, trying to travel with pods and wagons and stuff like that, it's tough. I don't know how you guys do it for NXL. It's a little bit mind blowing how some of these bigger teams or bigger organizations do it.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's way more to it than just
At least here, I only know. I just gotta go. I just gotta go to California. Just now, which location? That's a different story. Either a 4-hour drive or gonna be a 6-hour drive, and pulling the trailer. That's where it is. But yeah, taking a trailer all the way across country, I think that's gonna be a huge thing. Hopefully, though, it'll only be one line, so it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, obviously, I'll be rooting for you guys in Chicago. I'm trying to figure out all my stuff to come play again for the next WC, and I'll.
When you're ready to come back, like I said, a lot of the guys are playing NXL, so their rankings are going up really quick. So event 4, we'll see where we're at. Right now, event 3, luckily their point margins are right there, so everybody should be good to go for event 3. And then we'll figure it out. Event 4, we'll go from there because I know a lot of the guys are going to rank up, so that's going to be a hard thing to fill shoes for and keep the teams competitive.
Right, for sure. Yeah, and I know I've got a lot of medals up here on my wall, but I don't have a WC medal yet, so that's a goal of mine.
There. We were close. One more win, and we would have been there.
Yeah, for sure. We're right there. So, I'll keep in touch with you and Coach. Get plans finalized for that 3rd event.
Yeah, just like I said, let me know. Now we know where it's at. So now the process of flights, hotels, and all that's at ASG. So a little bit closer for us, 4-hour drive, was not too bad for us. But yeah, now we know where it's at, so we're good to go. So like I said, whenever you're ready, dude, just hit me up and we'll get you on the field.
Yes, sir. All right. So this next question is brought to us by Get That Shot. He's NXL Pro Media. I know he was in Atlantic City. He was shooting for HK Army. So message him, GetDat_shot on Facebook or Instagram if you're needing media coverage at the upcoming USXBL event here in San Antonio. So this question is one that I ask everybody that comes on the show. Kind of helps me keep track of anybody that's flying under the radar, or does important work behind the scenes, things like that. So is there anybody in paintball, could be a team, a player, a brand, a project, a community member, that you think deserves more recognition for what they're doing?
Evan McCarthy, Premier Line. Man, that guy's a hardworking guy. I mean, that kid's out at the field every weekend. I mean, I'm pretty sure he probably sleeps with his gun. I'm pretty sure he sleeps with his marker, in literally, because that kid's doing a great job. I mean, he finally made the USA team for 19U. I know he's been at it for a while, but he did. I think he placed first for the combine, and he's doing really good work as far as on our end for Phoenix Rising organization. But I mean, he's such a good player. That guy right there, he's gonna be he'll be on the pro field for sure sometime down the line if he keeps at it. Brandon on our end, he doesn't get that much credit for Rising. I really want to thank him for everything. Dan too, he's behind the scenes a lot. I know he's on vacation. He said he's going to come out, hasn't came out, but he's taking his vacation a little too long, so he's got to come back. No, I just want to thank everybody from Rising pretty much. And as far as the local teams too, I mean, I know a lot of local teams are at it. There's some new teams that are coming out. I've talked to this new team Abstract is coming out. Ben, talked to him quite a bit. He's asking me a lot of questions about running an organization, getting him to paint and stuff like that to keep it cheaper for him and his guys. And there's a lot of teams out there that are still coming up. And like I said, it's tough. I know this year with the economy and stuff like that, they were saying it was going to take a dip and all that stuff. So hopefully on our end, we haven't seen that much downplay as far as at the field this year. But we'll see how it goes. But I want to say thank you. I mean, this is my first podcast I've ever done. I usually stay behind the scenes. You should have got some of the other guys to come on. I mean, thanks for giving me the opportunity for speaking today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, shout out to Evan. Like, I actually participated in the combine back in February, and yeah, it was obvious that he was definitely putting in the work. And yeah, I mean, just I wanted to get you on because you know a lot of things that I think could really benefit the community, and a lot of opportunities out there that teams maybe aren't taking advantage of yet. That if we see more and more teams, start to use this knowledge, then hey, we're gonna have much stronger organizations in paintball and a better community as a whole because of it.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Infamous is I think it's self-sustaining organization. I think they do a lot of selling their own equipment and their own product. They have their own product line. So I'm thinking they're doing a great job as far as self-sustaining their players and able to pay whatever they need to pay for with just their stuff with Infamous.
Yep, for sure. And hopefully we'll see more of that just across paintball as a whole. So, yeah. So yeah, I think
grow that sport, the whole thing, grow the sport.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely. And sometimes that means, just arming everybody with knowledge so that they can help themselves too.
Yep.
So I think that just about does it, Benny. Thank you so much for coming on, taking some time. I know you had a really hectic day.
I do AC in Phoenix is not a good time for me right now. When I was like 6 o'clock, oh yeah, I can make that. We'll be good. I don't know, till 112, and everything was breaking down, phone calls left and right. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make this.
Yeah.
So yeah, able to.
Man, AC in Phoenix, so at least you're never going to be short of work, right?
No, never.
All right. So this final question is brought to us by Compete, which is Jell Stewart's brand. Message him on Facebook or Instagram. Mention In the Pits for 10% off of your order of soft goods. So Benny, thank you again. Do you have any last shout outs or things you'd like to say before we sign off?
No, just every team that's out there, player, good luck. Like I said, it's a fun sport. I've been grateful that my son's played in it. I don't play as much. I know these guys want me to go play more so they can shoot me because all they do is yell at them at practice. But yeah, just keep at it, man. And good luck for you. I know you're starting with the Titans, right? And then you're starting your own thing or whatever you were doing when we're talking.
Yeah, I mean, Titans are still going strong. We're trying to win the D3 NXL series this year, and we're in the driver's seat, so that feels good.
There you go, dude. Good luck this season. Like I said, it's good luck to anybody out there. Let's keep at it, man. That's all I can say is good luck. And like I said, if you have any questions, just reach out. And if you ever want to come to Phoenix to come practice, just let me know. We could set something up.
Yeah, for sure. And for like anybody else that's listening out there, like please reach out to others. Like if you have any questions, like reach out to me, reach out to Benny. Like even if we're competitors on the field, we might be like division rivals or whatever. Like outside of the on the field stuff, genuinely, I want to see every single paintball organization out there succeed at their highest potential. So and it just makes the sport better as a whole and gives us more like longevity and ability to participate over time. So yeah, please reach out if you have any questions or want to make connections.
Yep. Just hit me up. Don't hesitate.
For sure. Do you have any sponsors that you want to shout out before we sign off?
Yeah, high tech automation. We got Carbon, Virtue, Defy, Weapons. This switch this year with Todd has been great. New partnership with him, so it's been going good. So Defy, let it fly with Defy. And yeah, for sure, high tech. That's our biggest sponsor. That's our. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Rising would not be where they're at today without high tech. So I want to thank them, and also the pod fillers. If you guys want to look at pod fillers, Phoenix Rising Paintball, order yourself some pod fillers. It makes it a lot easier. It fits a whole case of paint. You saw me out there, bam, knocking them out, and especially in 30 minutes, whenever we had to get out there, just keep that paint cold and go straight from the cooler straight to the field. So get your pod fillers. I know we had an order of 10 at WC, so that's a pretty good thing. So we'll if you guys need pod fillers, just look at the website.
Yes, sir. All right. So I think that does it. So Benny, thank you again, and everybody tuning in online, thank you so much. Be sure to go follow Phoenix Rising on Instagram. That's at Phoenix_Rising_PB. So what other guests would you like to see on the show? Be sure to leave a comment down below. While you're at it, hit that subscribe button. The show goes live weekly here on youtube.com/@inthepitspaintballpodcast, and recordings are posted to YouTube, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify the next day. Shout out to my partner and sponsor tier subscribers on Patreon: FU Athletics, Get That Shot, Paintball Kumite, Compete, BEMRAPS, Hydra, XDPL Events, Mariachi Aguilas de Oro, Podrunners Union, 71 Designs, TexanHemp.com, and QBRofficial.com. So we will see you all next week for episode 107. And that does it for our show. Benny, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. You have a good night.
You too.